All right. Hey guys, gals, what's happening? It's Friday. We made it through another quarantine week. Want to stress anytime you guys feel a little bored and you guys know who you are. I've made a few phone calls lately, and the common theme is that I'm bored. I got nothing to do. So listen, get on the Google Classroom, start practicing some math, and you will not be bored anymore. It's something all math people do. Now stop rolling your eyes. Let's go over the answers to yesterday's work. Here is questions 1, 2, 3, and 4. I want you to please verify that you have any of the bubbles that need to be filled in. And if they're not, or equal to, that they're like a hollowed bubble, make sure the directions are going the same way, and make sure your solution sets look identical in the same order that I have them. All right, I did notice a couple of my first period guys writing 857, 856, 855, ... No, it doesn't go this way. So you want to start with the number that we start with. 855 is not filled in, so we've got to start with the next number. And that's all the way to the left because we're going to the right. All right, again, pause me anytime. Let's move on down. We've got 5 and 6. We have 2 open bubbles. One of them is less than, one of them is above or greater than. Check out our solution sets if you could. And the last 3 were review. Actually, 9 was review, even though, I gotta be honest, 9 was kind of tough. 7 and 8, we have a yes and we have a no. If you just wrote yes or no, then you don't remember being in Mr. Berman's class. You have to show your proof. And number 9, I needed a cheat box. And I figured out that there were 250 miles in 5 hours. I need to know how many miles there were in 7 hours. So I saw a lot of people just kind of, they scooped. So they said, you know, how many 5s are in 7? Well, that's kind of hard to do, but 7 divided by 5 is something like a decimal, 1 point something. So if you find that, whatever you did down in the denominator, you do in the numerator. And I know some of my guys like Gabe did that, and I really appreciate that. I could tell you were listening in class. But what I did is I cross-multiplied. I got 5x equals 1,750. I divided using inverse operations, both sides by 5. And I got there with 350 miles in 7 hours. Now that's my ratio. I simplified it. I divided both by 7 and I got 50 to 1. But this asked me for a percent. So what I did was, we know percent is always out of 100. So this would be 50 times 100 is 5,000%. I gotta be honest, on a test I wouldn't ask you for the percent. I would probably just ask you for this number right here. So as long as you got this number here, I'm a happy guy. All right, so I got some feedback over the past 24 hours. And some of that feedback was that the videos are not getting too in-depth. And we have one more lesson before we start reviewing for our end of the unit test. I want to make this video a little more detailed. So at any time during this video, pause, check your notes, rewind, go back, watch it again. Let's get started. Today, we're going to take what we know about one-step equations. We're going to mix that with what we know about inequalities, and we're going to make one-step inequalities. Let me show you what I mean. So, like we did with one-step equations, we are going to find that we have a left side of the inequality and we have a right side. And what we want to do is we want to isolate that variable b. We want to get b, the value of b, all by itself. So let's see, we have a plus 34. What is the inverse? What is the opposite of plus, of addition? What is the opposite? Well, the inverse of plus is minus. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of that 34 on the left side. Now what we do to one side, we have to do to both. It's called balancing your inequality or balancing your equation. 34 minus 34, well, that's 0. That eliminates, that cancels out, and our variable is now isolated. Now, I know what a lot of you are going to do. You're going to put an equal to symbol here because that's what we're used to. No. Now we're talking inequalities. Bring that down. What is 120 minus 34? Well, let's do the math. I got 86. B is greater than or equal to 86. Once we have that, well, it's kind of a lot of what we've been doing. Let's go ahead and graph it. So we've got 86 in the middle. I don't know about you, but I like to put the bubble there first. Do I fill in that bubble? Is that or equal to? There is. So I'm going to go ahead and take a second to fill it in. I'm going to go lefty less than. I always stress that. I'm going to go righty greater than. And it looks like it's pointing to the right. It's looking for greater than, and we always go to the right when it's greater than. One of the questions that I got the other day while we did an online review was, how many numbers do you need in a solution set? Well, the cool thing is, as long as you know where the arrow is, you've got your dots, your so on and so forth, you always go to the left side where it starts and you say, okay, can 86 be included in my solution set? It is filled in, so it can. And the rest of the numbers, honestly, just come right down off that number line. All right, so I got to be honest. Some of you have said to me, inequalities, Berman, easy. We're grasping it. It's coming. So what I'd like you to do is pause me here if you got to finish up some of these notes. And when you're ready, let's go to the next one. All right, so let's go ahead and solve for H here. I apologize if my video is kind of a little unstable, but I'm trying to give a better angle. I know Tyler was saying the angle wasn't too good, so I want to make Tyler smile today. So let's see. We want to get H isolated. So right now we have a coefficient 5, and it's married to that variable. We said when we have a marriage, we usually have multiplication and a bunch of kids, right? So the inverse of multiplication is division. So what we do to one side, we do to the other. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So 1H comes down. Bring down that inequality symbol. Go ahead, what's 250 divided by 5? Well, 25 divided by 5 is 5, and then you bring down the 0. Now, we talked whenever we have a number that starts our inequality, we need to flip it. And if we have a less than symbol here, we've got to flip it to be greater than. All right, why don't you go ahead and graph this? If you want, you could even pause it and graph it if you want a little practice. Or you can just stay with me while I graph it. Sometimes you'll see graphs that are like this with only one number on it, and then you just got to fill in the numbers when you're done. And my solution set, it's good practice. I always start with my dots. 50 is not included, so my next number that's included is 51, 52, 53. All right, pause me there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video now. I'm going to let you guys try the next two questions and then watch my next video to see if you got them right.